Hey, Michael.
Hello.
How's it
Wow, I
going?
feel famous now.
Hey there.
So my situation is different than a lot of instructors. Hold on. I teach college classes, and I've priced the materials that they can get through the other sources out there, and they're often $90, $100, $150. And frankly, I wasn't very impressed with it. As an instructor, I get that stuff sent to me for free, and I can review it. And I looked at it, and I was like, none of this really covers things as well as I want to. And so I built my own material, and this is really how I found Udemy. It's like, well, I built my own material, and I'm going to sell this to my students. I have a built-in audience. They're stuck with my price, and they're the ones that are paying the $65, which is more than the $50. 60 or 65, but it's a lot less than what they would pay if I used other materials. So yeah, there's my own vested interest. I also put a massive amount of time into answering their questions and making the material. And
what are the courses on, Michael?
Dreamweaver is my main course.
Oh, great.
That's the one that's on Udemy right now. Yeah. And I have not just screencasts. I go through and use a tool similar to PowerPoint to build concept videos that I don't see in other courses.
And do most of your earnings come from your students that you teach in person?
90%. I've had a few others. I also do work on the side, and I've had some people there, and I'll be honest, they're not my students, and I've given them bigger discounts than the $60. Or I've had a couple of people that, in order to pay me, they could either pay me or they could buy my course, and that works out for both them and for me. It gets my course out there, and
tell me also a bit, just what are your goals in teaching on Udemy? Curious, just like what's important to you? What are you trying to achieve?
Well, now you're going to put me on the spot.
Sorry, I'm asking a big question.
No, it's a fair question.
I am going to come back to answer some of this, but the goal is so important to me.
So it's a fair question. The goal for right now is for the college. Right now, it's one college class. I actually teach at multiple colleges, but for the college classes that I'm teaching, for the one now, to offer my students the best material I can at a lower cost than what they can get. And yes, for me to make some money off of that, just like instructors who write their own textbooks. But doing so for that market at a price that's actually significantly less right now than what they would buy if I could point up here and start pulling down books with videos attached to them that are $120 and up. And
so Michael,
it's cheaper.
Is your question that, so you already have your students paying $60 or $65? What should you do now that these pricing changes are happening, because 90% of your students are paying that $60? Is that really what your question is?
If I bring it down to $50, maybe I make a few other organic sales, but now at $50, the organic sales are still going to be split. So now I'm making $25. Now, I realize Udemy is a business. Most of my sales are coming from my students, where I get almost all of the profit and Udemy gets very little. And that has to play a part in it also. You guys cannot provide a service without getting your cut. And I get that. And if something has to be done to balance that, where you need to get a few dollars more of each of my sales, when it's almost all of my sales are coming from coupons, I get that. I mean, you're in business to make money. I mean, you have other goals. You want to educate people, but you want to make money. That's what a business does.
I think I'm really glad you joined, actually, because this is a super important example, and I've actually spoken with a number of instructors this week who are really similar to yourself, who have an audience of folks who are paying more than $50. This isn't the vast majority of instructors in the marketplace, but there are several folks, and I know that this new pricing is particularly hard for y'all. So, my hope here is that if you do end up pricing in this new structure, and 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 I can imagine you'd want to price on the higher point of the pricing structure because you're already getting $60 from each student. So say you were at 45 or at 50, that the amount of additional purchases you were getting from organic sales would actually make up for that difference that you were losing in the $10 or the $15 from your existing audience. And it was also why I asked about just what was your topic, because something like Dreamweaver actually is, well, there are a lot of students on Udemy who are interested in learning Dreamweaver, right? We have a lot of students who learn about technology, who learn about design topics. So that gave me a little bit more confidence that that could actually really work out. I'm not sure that it'll work out. Right. I can't be sure of that, but I think it's for me, it would be something worth testing, kind of seeing how a couple of months go if you priced at something like 50 and were those organic sales enough to make up for that gap. And that's part of the belief behind, for us in just that. When you put the online course in this $20 to $50 range, it ends up this price times volume equation for instructors ends up being better. And so, that would be my hope, is that actually the volume would increase for you pretty substantially to outweigh the bit of the decrease in the price. So yeah, those are some of my thoughts, but I also know that, I think your specific circumstance is one that's the structure is hard for.
Fair enough. That's pretty much what I'm stuck doing, is I'm going to have to experiment with that.